If you found this podcast, chances are you're a high achiever and you're successful. But now you're stuck and stressed, and you realize that everything you've created hasn't given you the fulfillment and the joy you thought it would. This is where we discuss the keys of high performance mindset and stepping into the next best version of yourself. Welcome to the Positive Persistence Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Persistence Podcast. Today we are joined by a man with an incredible story of hope, resilience, and faith over fear. Dusty Meisen, welcome to the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Positive Persistence Podcast. I am super excited to get into this conversation because today we are joined by accountability and resilience coach Thomas Scaria. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. It's great to be. And I've gone through your podcast and I have had the privilege, that's the right word, of having a talk with you. And it's exciting. It's an honor. It's a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we go any further, I want to make sure that our listeners and our viewers know about your upcoming book, because Thomas is an author. He's about to release his book, Resilience Plus Rise. Thomas, I know you got a copy there for you to show us what it looks like. So It's Resilience Plus Rise, 26.2 transformative miles to unleash your marathon of life mindset. And not only is he an author, but he's also the host of the Resilience Plus Rise podcast, which is where we met. I had the opportunity and the privilege to be on Thomas's podcast. And I think that in our due diligence, doing research on one another, we found a lot of similarities in each other, in the way that we approach life, or the way that we approach challenges, the way that we deal with them. And Thomas, your energy, it transcends the screen here. I love talking to you before, and I know I'm going to love talking to you again. You said that infectious energy that it is awesome. But I want to talk to you about your story and share that with our viewers and our listeners, because it is one that is incredible. There are so many incredible parts of your story. But as we were talking about before we started recording, a lot of our listeners and viewers are already in a space where they are stuck, and they're looking for a way to make their comeback from their setback and get to a place to where they can feel success. And I was hoping you could pick up your story there, where you were already in that space and not having all the fulfillment that one would think that you might have with the success of a successful career.
In fact, before I can dive into that particular question, thank you again. I just wanted to mention to the listeners, when Ian came in and I saw that the flagship of what he is, positive persistence, I said, you know what, that's what I am all about. Being positive, being persistent. Sometimes I call it a stubbornness also. And also I would add another P, that is possible.
Yes.
Everything is possible. So I realized immediately there was a connection. And I said, okay, there is something, let's see. And when I started digging, I realized, whoa, and as you mentioned, there are quite a bit of similarities. So quite a bit of the fact that we both are kind of a clean sheet.
We keep it easy, Thomas. Easy and breezy. That's right.
Okay, now coming to the question is that what happened, why it happened. So I have been a recreational runner, and my background has been in IT infrastructure. And for me, it has always been about people, helping them out in some way or the other. Sometimes I know, which is a big fault of mine, is that I can get too close into your face, and people can, there's always a sense of misjudgment that what exactly is happening. Anyway, I leave that particular thoughts at the side, but I have been in service delivery, and that was a easy transition into project management. After I did my MBA and I did my certification in PMP, I felt that I have reached that pinnacle of what project management was all about. It was very exciting. Then I got into the higher levels of project management, being a delivery manager, etc., client service manager. But when we keep a certain goal, at some point of time, we realize, is this it? And there were times wherein I would think about it, but I would not really. I just left it at a passing phase.
Hmm.
And for me, I have been during this time when I was doing my MBA, I was also put on a hat of mentoring grads and undergrads, and I realized that there is a love that I can help people to see the greater possibilities. That's the reason I said the word possibility. What else is possible? That what can be pushed across. And I have got a fair amount of track record. Out of 10 people who have come in, maybe 8 of them would get a job of their choice and where they wanted to be in. So
Hmm.
I realized, and then again, I the world of coaching opened up, and I was very excited because here in coaching is that I'm not because I myself, as they say, that do unto others what you expect others to do unto you. I myself, I did not like getting advice, and coaching was anything but advising. It is
Yeah.
about walking along the path with a person, and I always say is that for me, it is. I've helped people in running, and so when I'm running, I'm not running ahead of them. I'm not running behind them. Maybe if it's a group, depending on where it is, but I always try to run along with them. So I'm keeping in pace with them, so they get that particular sense of traction. They get that sense of uh, power. They get a sense of that there is somebody who can be along with them, and that's what
Mhm.
coaching also showed me in a different way. So coming back to the main element is that what happened was COVID hit. Of course, we all know the wonderful times of COVID,
Right.
and there was this time wherein I lost my dad and I lost the job in the span of less than 24 hours.
Wow.
So I had lost my dad, and through because I could not fly back to Bombay, where I was from,
Hmm.
because of all the flights were stopped, and then it came to that. So I watched his entire funeral on WhatsApp video, and it was heart wrenching because the time I could really get to know my dad was the time when I already got searching for my own horizons.
Hmm.
And he was a very much well respected, well loved, I would say, person in our community. And there was a lot of elements about him being in service to another. And it was kind of a page out of my own learning. The way he was in meeting people, friendly. I mean, if you see me and you say that I've got the positive thing, if you look at him, he would have more of that vibrancy. So a fruit doesn't fall very far from the tree.
From the tree.
So
Yep.
that's where I was. And when he passed away, it was really, though he was bedridden for a while, but still it was that he could mumble something and I could see him and things were going on. So the day he passed away, so I saw it in the night and there was like, based on his background, we could have expected around 2,000 to 3,000 people coming for the funeral. But unfortunately, due to the COVID times, there was around 5 to 7 people who were just the close family members they who came for the funeral, which
Hmm.
was okay. I mean, maybe that was a space that maybe he also wanted, whatever it is. So I was, I wanted to take some time off just to unwind that what was happening, and I tried to contact my superior, the director, and a couple of times I tried to get in touch with him in the morning, but it was not. He was not taking up the call, and then one he called me somewhere. Um, Late morning, early afternoon, or something like that, and say that. So I said, "Hey, listen, I just wanted to tell you my dad passed away, and I need a little time off." Oh, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but then the thing is, we do not want you in this organization anymore." It was very blunt
Wow.
upfront, and I said, maybe that time I know I would not think, but I was like too shocked even to think about what was happening. And there you think about that there is a concept about humanity. There is a concept about Uh, by like if the statement is like, "I'm sorry, but listen, we just want to tell you that you're no more with the organization." It was like in
Mhm.
one breath itself, it was taken off. So that hit me,
Yeah.
and it hit me quite bad. For the next couple of days, I was quite stunned trying to process it. From the cultural background that we come from, there are two tenets which is the highest. One is family, and the second one is our job. I mean, what we are holding on. That has been, it is a very wrong concept, but family is always there. But how we show ourselves in the society where we are in the career, that has been, and that I have learned that from the childhood, that okay, what defines you
Hmm.
is the job you're having, the words you're having after your name, that really qualifies to be the person you are.
Yeah.
Losing both of them one day. But there was one element which kept my sanity. Of course, my wife was very much the backbone of being the support that I
Hmm.
want. She was present. But I had known of a magical world that I could go and get lost in, and that was running. And luckily, in Vancouver, though COVID was in place, we could still go out and running as long as there was a social distancing.
Hmm.
And I was a recreational runner. I would run maybe around 2 to 3 marathons a days. I mean, sorry, a year, and just so that it was just that energy. I loved that particular element, and
Yes.
so I got into running and running. And Ian, as I always believe, is that from our darkest of spaces comes the brightest of light. And the same thing is that from our deepest of pain comes our purpose. So during that running, I said that I'm doing this running. And I started feeling much more calmer. I started getting the core within my own self.
Hmm.
And I said, let me pivot this to what is this telling me? I
Yeah.
lost two things, but is there a larger purpose?
Right.
And when you are a runner, you are in workouts, you know, when you come to a certain point of whether it is the adrenaline rush or whether it is the hormones that kicks in, you know that you're in another space. You come to a space, for me it is there when you're coming to 14 or 17 kilometers, or maybe around 10 miles. You reach a point of just your space becomes blank, your mind becomes blank, and you're just in that space. And that's when I said, is that how could I convert this to a better purpose? And I said, let me do something for somebody else. And that week, it's coincidentally, I had got a mailer from a cancer research saying that they are going low on funds because of COVID, and if I could donate something. And something just clicked to me, is that I may not be able to donate, but maybe I can do a fundraiser for them. And I said, okay, let me do a marathon. But I said, a lot of people can do a marathon. It's not a big deal. How can I push myself? And that's when I took up the challenge of, initially I was just easy on myself. I said, let me do 2 marathons in, or 3 marathons in a month. So which is still okay. I said, 5 marathons, 5 weekends, let's do it.
Incredible.
I never knew what the outcome was. I never knew what's going to happen, but I just had a belief that if I can help another soul, and this war cry, Ian, was not about the people who were having the challenge of being unwell,
Mm.
but it was more for the people who are around the bed. For the people, because the person on the bed can cry, they can scream in pain, but how does a person who's around the bed scream in pain, in the anguish, the love that is slowly maybe slipping out, or giving them the motivation that we will be well?
Yes.
This was a war cry for them. So when I was doing a marathon, there were times, I think I've written in the book also. By the time the third marathon came in, I was like washed out. But I just kept these people in mind and said that okay, I'm doing it for them. If they can go through the pain, if they can go through the challenges, I will do one step after another. So, and that time people like now also, whether if when you look at me, I'm not a runner. I've got an endomorphic body. And I still have kind of a fatty liver, kind of a challenge as such. So I got a pot belly, I got a punch, I'm kind of stocky, but you give me to run, I can run and run and run.
Yes.
That
And
is a gift from God or whatever we call it as life itself.
it's unbelievable to me that you have done 85 ultra marathons and marathons. And just for the people who don't know, can you tell us what classifies an ultra marathon as an ultra as opposed to a regular marathon?
Ultra marathon is anything which is more than 26 miles or 42 kilometers. But I
Mm-hmm.
always keep a cut off that. Let it be a little more number than that, but it goes anything further than that. So the longest I've done is roughly around 100 and not roughly, but 111 kilometers, which comes to around 65 miles odd, and that also again was for cancer research. But I have been doing it continuously, and it's a joy that was there, and I've been using it. Coming back to the original question,
Mm-hmm.
is that when you realize there is a purpose, your body tells you, your inner compass tells you, you got to pause and wait.
Yeah.
This morning I was reading a book by Oprah Winfrey, when that 10 minutes of just when you want to read something which helps you. And it was, she mentioned is that she was a TV reporter, and then she got her dream of being a host, and she went in for that event as a TV host, as a side anchor. Immediately her body said, yes, this is what she's made for, sitting as on the other side and asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that day was the last day of her job also in that broadcasting. Morning she got the job, by evening she was fired because of a lot of other reasons which people know about why she was fired. But because of what was there, the deep within, she realized that was a calling, and she did not stop. It became one of the topmost till she started her own network,
Mm-hmm.
because she followed her what she was. So the same thing it goes in is that I took a risk saying that okay, I'm working. It opened up, but here again I started continued after the corporates opened up. I continued to work on job, but then that pull, that hit which was coming in day out was too much. And then finally it came to a point. I said, okay, let me focus on what I need to do and see what God, life gives me back, because I'm going with a belief that this is what my talent is. And
Yeah.
so, coming to your question, if there is a calling, there would be a lot of challenges. As for us, it is, how are we keeping up with the Joneses? How is the salary going to come in? Who's going to take care of my family? Yeah, these are very much key elements. You may want to
Mm-hmm.
go and look back into the books. But if there is a calling, even if it is you're doing it 10 minutes a day, start doing it. And when the calling gets louder and you wake up in the middle of the night and say that, this is what I want to do it.
And then you have to go after it
You
like
got
your
to go
life
after it.
depends on it, because in all
Yes.
actuality, it does. Right.
My wife just used to say, you don't live on love and fresh air. At this point of time, I'm living on my love and fresh air and the persistence that I want. I believe in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And here again, it comes to is that for me, the tenant of this particular book is that even if one person reads it, and if it touches one point of their thought process, I'm not talking going to the point of being motivated or inspired, but if it makes them think a little, I've succeeded in what I've spent this entire time for.
Yes. And Thomas, that is what I love about you, because you are so just honestly there to help others. And, I listen to you talk and I can't help but thinking that you are, a soldier in the army of the light in terms of, just wanting to enlighten people of the possibility. As you mentioned, the realm of possibilities is endless.
It is.
And
It
if we
is.
can find our calling, we can find our purpose, anything, anything is possible. And I wonder if that is part of, and I want to get into this, your marathon mindset method. And we've already talked a little bit about running and marathons and ultra marathons, but this marathon mindset method isn't just about running,
No,
right? It's not just about getting through a race or a
no,
run. It's also designed to help create lasting changes in areas of health and relationships and career and purpose, like we've spoken.
that's true.
So
That's
if you
true.
can, I'd love it if you could unpack a little bit about the marathon mindset method, how it came to be would be a great place to start.
It's time to ask yourself, when was the last time you prioritized you? Did you know that research shows that nearly 85% of high performers struggle to maintain a performance mindset while juggling the demands of work and personal life? Those who actively prioritize their performance mindset and personal growth are 30% more likely to achieve their goals in business and life. If you're feeling crippling stress and anxiety, or if you're feeling guilty when you take a moment for yourself, or if you're stuck in the grind and feeling burnt out, you're not alone. Many of us yearn for more, but struggle with the fear of being judged or feeling selfish. And you want to step into the next best version of yourself. That's why I created the Rinse Method, which got me from paraplegic to marathon runner. Backed by science-based proven strategies and now customized for high performers like you. If you're stuck and stressed and want clear steps that you can implement today to move forward, make sure you visit thepositivepersistence.com to download our free Rinse PDF.
So when I was, so the question when I came, when did my 5 marathons, and people always have this element, whether they are not confident about their own self, they tend to ask you that. One of the questions which has been frequent is that they look at me and then they look at my stomach and they say, "You run?" Not looking at me, but looking. And then it used to kind of, guys. And then I realized, you know what? Nothing to prove. Then I would change it that I run with my legs and I need the fat to burn. Give me the burn. Give me the fuel.
Right.
So that's how I do it.
Yeah.
And it's basically a lot of times, first thing I've realized there are so many people who, my well wishers, they come to me, "Oh, you're a runner." Even I want to run, but my knees are not well, or I don't think so. I'm getting a problem trying to wake up in the morning or keep on. I ask the one question: what is the purpose that you want to run? Because if you do not have a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
your excuses will always be larger. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to compare. Each one has got their own USP. So don't try to compare. And there were people, I would say openly, who said that, "Oh, if Thomas can do it, I can also do it." And they directly go and try to do a 5K or a 10K.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know about them is that they have never ever gone back to running because they got so badly injured. So during that time, I realized this needs to be told that it is not about legs, but what's in your mind. And I've, I've always been not only a voracious reader, but also a writer. I've been putting out on Medium. Initially, it used to be on Medium, but also on LinkedIn a lot. And I realized, why don't I translate these life lessons to my running? So, and when you look on my LinkedIn, it's most of the time it's something about running, but in parallel to life. And that's what this book is all about, is that we don't realize it. We are doing marathons every day, whether we are trying to reach a goal of finishing the day, that is, you're just existing through the day,
Mm-hmm.
or you're doing a marathon to show that you're good for the promotion,
Right.
or you're doing a marathon to show that how validated you are. in the role that you're in, whatever the role may be. To single moms, to senior people who are working towards their thing, that's also a marathon. So
Yeah.
what I made was, that's the reason I say is that 26.2 transformative milestones to overcome, we unleash your marathon of life. So everybody has got a marathon. But I had mentioned is that when you have this mindset, like mindset is everything. That's your t-shirt, what it says. What are you going to dig deep into that mindset? Is it a teaspoon or is it a bucket?
Yes, sir. I like that.
So with that ideology, this came up. And what I have done is, in a marathon, there are 6 stages. If you for a person who has done marathon, which is around 26 miles or 42 kilometers, there are 6 stages.
Mhm.
The first stage is when you are at the start line. The second stage is the beginning miles.
Mhm.
The third stage is the middle miles. The fourth stage is the wall.
The wall.
The fifth
Yeah.
stage is when you're coming towards the finish line.
Hmm.
And the last stage is at the finish line. So I have made parallels to marathon in life. So the first would be when you're starting. So it could be you're moving to a new house, you're starting a new job, you're starting a new relationship, you're going to be a new parent or parent nth time. But it's always something which is happening. How do you look into it? There are times wherein you look into the middle miles. The middle miles, you start thinking about what your goal was, being persistent about where your goal is,
Hmm.
not losing the focus. The initial miles would be about time management or some, how you're managing the time so that you will be able to complete this race maybe in 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, but you would be able to complete it without any injury. Same thing with life also. A lot of times we have come to this point where a lot of people, I would say the extreme that people are committing suicide also, whether it is in different parts of the world, because they are reaching a point of burnout.
Hmm.
So this marathon of life is help telling you that, listen, don't reach to a point of burning out. There are solutions. I may not give, this book may not have all the solutions, but I give a few ideologies that has worked for me. So for me, this particular book is, it's not just what I've put across is the runs that I've done across the world and the stories of people who have risen above their usual parameters of what the society says as life,
Hmm.
and shown you, Ian, are a startling example. Paralyzed from neck below, and you say, no, not only I will walk, but I will do something further than that. Maybe that time it wouldn't have been when your doctor said that you're going to be paralyzed. But it came over a period of time that you can push yourself. So things which has helped me to push. So leaders like whether it is Nelson Mandela or Abraham Lincoln, or I mean, I've taken different stories from different places. People who says that okay, you can do it. There is a story in this one about a lady, a girl who lost her arm because, and she was an amazing surfer. How she defied everything to go back to surfing with the loss of her arm. I've taken the stories of people who do the Paralympics, who have believed that, you know what, you can still rise. A part of the body is just a part of the body, but your mind is still full. Your mind is still complete.
Yeah.
You can still do things. So that's what the book is about. Does that answer the question?
I love that. I love that. I love the fact that you talk about the mind and how it is capable of so many amazing things. And you used a word that I use a lot as well, and it is belief. And that is so paramount to success. Believing in yourself, believing that you can, believing that you will. And it's such a difference maker. And I love the fact that you've put in a workable method for people to be able to follow, because I think that so many people right now are they're looking for something to implement, something to use, something to follow, directions, if you will. Like how do I take my current situation and get it to where I want it to be? How do I start to live the life that I want to live? Or step into the fact of realizing that the direction that I'm moving in maybe isn't the direction that I actually want to be moving, because I have been shepherded this way, told to go this way. I have thought this is what I wanted. Now my situation has changed and I feel stuck. I don't feel fulfilled. And I need a roadmap to get me to where I love my life and I enjoy my life, and to realize that it's possible. That's possible. So I love the fact that you have the marathon mindset method, and I love the fact that you are a shining example of the improbable is possible.
True.
And the story that you tell of people coming up to you and looking at your physique and saying, you run, and the fact that you don't allow someone else's perception of you become your reality speaks volumes about you. And I love the fact that you are a shining example of that, because we need more of that. We need more people to realize that when someone is doubting you, doubting your capability, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
It's a reflection. It's always a reflection, right?
Yes, absolutely. Whatever lens they are looking through at that point in time is not one that is meant for you. And for you to be able to tap into your power and your potential is just amazing. And I also have to highlight this because I found this very interesting. Another parallel that you and I have is that I was a smoker. I smoked.
What a beautiful world. What a wonderful world.
12 years, and running actually helped me get out of that habit. I will never say I quit. I will say that I choose not to smoke, because I have quit many times over the years before when I was smoking. But I see that you were also a smoker, and you were able to decide not to do that anymore.
I think so. You said a word. It's a choice.
Yes.
Everything in life is a choice. And it was one fine day I said, okay, I want to live. I want to live better. I want to live healthier. And that's when in fact, you said 12 years. I've been, I think for me, it was 20 plus years that I've been a smoker. And it was a choice that I want to get out to life. And that's when life takes away something, which for me, how it was, the crutch of having the smoke, the sense of feeling that, was it really that, or was it something else? And
right.
Once it becomes a habit,
yes,
for me, walking away from it, then I got into running. Also, when you talk about choice, I'm just moving it a little different. Is that last April, I had made it a point that this is going to be my final run in South Africa. It was 2 oceans, 56 kilometers run. And I trained so very well for it. And I said, that's going to be my swan song. 2 minutes before the run, there was a runner just running behind me, going to their corral. And because before running, you're just light and you're kind of nervous and you're in that light state, hit my heel and I fell down with a thwack on my knee. And I said, okay, I know David Goggins could do it, so why can't I do it? I ran and I ran and I ran. By 17 kilometers, the pain was very, very excruciating. Very bad. I knew that it had turned more into a hobble and a walk. Even the walk was being painful. So I took down I was wearing the long track pants for running. I looked down and it had become like a size of a purple overgrown potato. And blood was oozing like there was no tomorrow. And I
Yeah.
said, nothing to prove. I waited for the sweeper bus to come in. They picked me up and I continued the journey, not completing the runs. I've had many do not finish runs in my. So if you say 85 and if I add it all together, it would have been I've done maybe around 150 or more than that. Out of that, so many of the runs I have not completed also. But it's okay. That's how life teaches you. So there again, I thought, why is this thing? Because you invested so much of your time, energy, and everything like that. And that's when I took a step back and said that, hey, I've been always thinking about writing a book, and it's there in that particular flow state and things like that. When I got back from South Africa, I called up a publisher and said, let's just make this a reality. I could focus the last, and it's coming to 1 year, I could focus the entire 1 year just focusing on the book. Because had I continued running, it would have been with some other event here, there, etc., life happening, things like that. But I got time to focus on the book. So when things happen in life, if you just change the narration, why it is happening to me, but why it is happening for me, what can I learn from it? It could be a game changer. Choice is yours.
Choice is yours. Absolutely. Wow. Okay. I mean, if I was holding the mic, that would be a mic drop moment right there. Thomas, I want to thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. And I also want to let our viewers and our members know where they can find out more about you. You said that you were on LinkedIn. Can you give us your LinkedIn handles?
It is Thomas Scaria. And on YouTube, it is Coach Thomas Scaria. On Spotify also, it is Resilience Plus Rise podcast or even Coach Thomas Scaria. And if you connect me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, it is thomas.scaria97. So wherever you go, if you can connect with me, I'm always ready to connect. And you can see some of the stories that I'm going through. And as I mentioned, as like you, I've been also working on podcasts. That's another thing is that I started in November. Now I've got more than 50 episodes already done. Initially, it was only once a week. Now it has come to literally around 4 times a week. I'm pushing it out. So feel free, even just to have a talk. I'm there. And let's see how to unlock your potentials.
Yes. Thomas, you are an amazing human, and I appreciate you taking the time. And I want to, again, thank our viewers and our members for joining us on this episode. Make sure you guys look for Thomas's book. It should be out in early April. It'll be in a couple of weeks from today. And make sure you connect with Thomas. And as we always say, and he is a amazing God, just an amazing person. The energy, I love Thomas, but you are such the epitome of positive persistence. A perfect example of that. And guys,
it's always a choice, right?
It is always the choice. It's all the choice about mindset. And as you already mentioned, mindset is everything. And it absolutely is. So I thank you again. And I thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in and being part of the Positive Persistence family. We're having a great time creating this content, and we truly hope it inspires you to embrace positivity and persistence in your own journey. If this podcast episode inspired you or entertained you, scroll down, hit those stars, and leave a comment or two. Your 5-star reviews and shares encourage us and help us grow the show. So until next time, stay positive, stay persistent, and remember, mindset is everything.